In the parable of the Good Samaritan, Jesus invites us to come to each other and to him in his inn, his church. He invites us to be good neighbors. The Good Samaritan promises to return and recompense the care of those in his inn. Living the gospel of Jesus Christ includes making room for all in his restored church. The spirit of room in the inn includes no one sits alone. When you come to church, if you see someone alone, will you please say hello and sit with him or her? This may not be your custom. The person may look or speak differently than you. And of course, as the fortune cookie might say, a journey of gospel friendship and love begins with a first hello, and no one sitting alone.
Now, I have to say this right here now, peeps. How many times do we sit and listen to a general authority speaking, we hear what they say, not in agreement, and then we just keep doing whatever it is we were doing? I mean, how often do we reflect upon how well we are living what we're nodding our heads in agreement with? How often do we ask ourselves the question, am I actually doing what they are teaching? Now, I'm sure that many of us would look at something like what Elder Gong just shared, okay, which I'll just quote it for you right here to refresh your memory. Quote, when you come to church, if you see someone alone, will you please say hello and sit with him or her? Unquote. Okay, that's the question. And we hear that, we're like, yep, that sounds like a good thing to do. But then how many of us actually do that, actually say hello to people who are sitting alone in church and ask to sit with them? How many of us are actually doing that? I mean, most of us don't do that. Most of us have a habit that we play out, a habit that's triggered up when we show up at church on Sunday, right? So being in that environment at that specific time of day, on that specific day of the week, boom, gentle, gentle, boom. That's where, that's what the trigger for the habit, right? So mentally, we're wired to say, okay, there's the trigger for the habit, start playing the habit. And that habit is we generally go into the chapel, find the same seat that we sat in last week or the week before, the week before, the week before that, and we sit through the meeting. That habit that we have does not include sitting next to people who are sitting alone. We say that would be good to do, and it is good to do, but then that knowledge is not translating into action, right? Because it's not a part of our habit. We keep on keeping on with old habits that don't include that thing we acknowledge would be good to do. So there's something is getting lost in translation here. And that applies just as much to singles activities as it does to sacrament meetings, as much to our singles groups as it does to our local wards. I'm sure we would all agree that saying hello and offering to sit next to people who are seated alone would be good. But how many of us actually do that when attending a singles activity? Again, we all have a habit that typically plays itself out, and the trigger for the habit is showing up to the activity. My observations of LDS singles as I've lived in various parts of the United States over the past 30 years, it shows a typical pattern, right? People usually find others within their small group of close friends, and they all hang out around them, around each other. Little, if any, effort is made to bring others into the larger group because LDS singles typically don't attend for the larger group, they attend for themselves. They aren't there to fulfill an agenda of building community among the other LDS singles in their group. Rather, they are there to fulfill their own personal agenda.